Hello YouTube, this is Demar1079 coming at you with another World of Warship review, and today we will be taking a look at the French, I guess so-called battleship, if you classify it as one, the Dunkerque. I guess you could say, mini version of a Resolute class battleship. Get a nice little look at here, and I'm going to say this, much like Rome, what's it called, Constellation, and I'm gonna put it in with him. Dunkerque here is technically a product of my vacation in Michigan. I had bought the gift card to get the Constellation, but since I got her 70% off, I decided to put towards the funds to buying her. She was an interesting ship to play with in the PC version of the game, and the Dunkerques, or the Resolutes, are just as fun too at times when I do occasionally play her. And I thought, what the heck, I'll buy her. And she is a fantastic little ship. Let us look at her stats. You can see there's the captain I'm using. She is armed with a whopping 13-inch guns, so she's good for hunting down cruisers. We'll get a specific type of cruiser, I'll get into that more down the line. Her armor, in which now that hearing the video for the second time, I'll put the video that I heard for the Dunkirk class down in the description below. But why Strasbourg, her sister ship, is a tier higher than her. Which for that is the armor. So, like always, we'll start in AI, and then we'll go into standard. And also, during this time, this new little update's gone around. Well, that this might not be the only French battleship I review, so look forward to that one. Well, I'll stay with high explosives for now. And in terms of history for the Dunkirk, really not much battle experience. And she is the only class of battleship besides the Resolute class that was built after the, I think it was the Bayonne class of Dreadnought era French battleships. According to the video that I'll put in the link down below for the usual guy, Drakenfell, hey, I think I finally said it right, that I watch if my book doesn't have all the information, which my book, it says some things, but not much.
Enemy force detected.
In terms of the Dunkirk, these ships were specifically made to counteract the pocket battleships of the Reichsmarine Navy, if I'm thinking. Since the High Sea Fleet was Imperial Germany, I think the Reichsmarine was prior to the before Nazi Germany's Navy, which I could be a miss going around. I know it's the Kaiserliche Marine for Imperial Germany, but that's the rest of it off the top of my head. But these ships were specifically made to go after the class of ship that Graf Spee is from. So pretty much these are a one-trick type pony ships, I guess you could say, to go after fast-driven cruisers and go out faster than what at the time that the French had of battleships, which is really none. But once these were made, then you get the Scharnhorst class, and then the Scharnhorst for them then makes the French build the Resolute class. Which if you ever want to see a video on the Resolutes, let me know in the comments below. Yes, but in terms of combat, these ships I don't think from what I've heard, seen them book, they never got to prove themselves. They never got to do what they were meant to do, which was hunt down. I don't know off the top of my head, but a Graf Space class. So I'm just gonna just prioritize that ship, which was the biggest and the baddest of all of that class of ship. But yes, in terms, she did sail for the Republic of France and everything for her country. She even took at least I think half of the gold reserve in France to Canada, so that I guess it could be safe since they were being invaded by Germany. Other than that, after that, her sailing days were pretty much done. She was moored at Mille et Capir alongside some other French battleships and all that. The French had a choice, hence these were under free French control, and then once Germany took over the rest of France, then they were under Vichy France control. And then the British gave them some terms like, hey, since back then these ships were in like South African controlled French territories in South Africa, or in just Africa in general, it was like the British gave them an option. You either, I believe, sink them in place. It was like you go to a neutral port, or you surrender them to us, so the Germans couldn't use them. A French admiral said pretty much no. Then it goes down to in history that the French were fired upon by the British, and at that point the French and the British have not fired on each other for at least 100 years. So Dunkirk was targeted alongside a bunch of other ships. Then the French admiral said, I know, consulted the British saying, I know the British can read, and Dunkirk will be underway very soon. Which, in that case, that French admiral was a moron. He just killed a lot of his fellow countrymen and sailors under his command, so she did get underway, and then she was targeted and sunk in port. I think I was mistaken in Mille et Capir. I know she was sunk there. She was disabled, couldn't go, and then the French just scavenged or sunk her in place and destroyed her even more, so the Germans couldn't take her under control or something. And then after the war, she was pretty much obsolete at the time, and then wasn't worth to fix her up. Plus she was too far gone, I guess, at that rate, scavenged for parts, blown holes in her side and everything. So they just made her a total loss and scrapped her, I believe, in 45 or 49. Which, funny enough, much like the Pearl Harbor battleships, she was actually torpedoed by British torpedo planes. Or no, by German torpedo planes, I think. So, that's pretty much the history. And plus, even if she wasn't badly damaged and they decide to keep her, she was like, oh, it's a hole, it's a little armor plating they have to fix up, or it's a simple little hole to fix, send her in dry dock. She was too tiny, didn't have the fuel reserves, pretty much like all European battleships, since pretty much Europe, France had colonies everywhere, so it's like, why do we need big fuel tanks like the United States or Japan that have to sail halfway around the world, maybe? So even if they would have kept her, which I don't know if Strasbourg met the same I know she met probably close enough to the same fate, but in terms of service life, I doubt she survived any longer than technically Dunkirk here did. Good Dunkirk. Yes. These were the ships that preceded the Dunkirks. Let me see, yep. Because the Nuremberg here never existed. But now let us go into a standard and see how we fare against actual people. I don't see that many Dunkirks out about anymore. I do see maybe occasionally a Strasbourg. And she has better armor since at the time she wasn't completed yet. So once the Scharnhorst class of German battleships came out, they're like, oh, armor her up a little bit more. It seems like in terms of battleships, pretty much I guess they just like the Dunkirk design. They just stretched Resolute out and gave her 15-inch guns instead of 13-inch guns. Which, again, those ships actually saw a little bit longer service. If I ever get my hands on a Jeanne d'Arc, I definitely will make a video on her, but she's a rare. If you get her, you're lucky, because apparently she's still broken, so good. And also, let me know in the comments below. I've thought of this, like, maybe if there's a little, like, weird scenario, like, hey, Scharnhorst actually, or not Scharnhorst, the Dunkirks and Graf Spee actually fought against one another. Who do you think will come out on top? And if you like that video idea, let me know. Maybe I'll get my buddy Driven involved and we'll do it. He's going to be a wee bit on the bad side with me since he did the tech tree for the French first. Since he got a little French in him. And him having to use the German ship. But we'll see. If he says yes, consider it a done video.
Enemy battleship detected.
Ooh, lucky. I did Nevada's work for her. Speaking of, hey, I never see a Dunkirk. There's a Dunkirk. It's a fancy skin too.
All stations, concentrate fire on the target. Enemy cruiser detected. Fighter airborne. All stations, requesting fire on the designated target. All stations, requesting fire on the designated target.
Oh, fire on the Dunkirk. It's a weaker ship.
The ship is on fire. Capture that area.
think I'm doing? I'm getting back right now. But oh yes, this thing is maybe better in terms of gun caliber than an Alaska class heavy cruiser. It's still not going to be that fast.
Fighter returning to ship.
Come on.
Concentrate fire on the designated.
Darn.
I need support. Acknowledged.
Not bad in terms of damage, though. Definitely gotta play with her more. Since, yeah, don't play with the French all that much. But my final thoughts are, she's a good little ship. Definitely a fun little ship at a tier 5 ship, and especially since she's got a tougher little sister at tier 6. But if you have her, or are planning on getting her, I'd recommend her. I've had fun in the past with her on PC, when I did the little testing servers and all that. And if you like the French in general, if you wanna play with your Resolute class battleship, but you don't want to, like, say, if you're on a bad team and you're the last one standing with Resolute, that this is a great alternative. Since she's a premium ship, you get a little extra coin, so even if you have a bad game, you're not really going to be fighting in the red all that much. So she's good. Especially if you like hunting down cruisers. She's a good cruiser killer with those 13-inch guns.
I need support.
But on that note, I want to thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe and hit that bell to notify you anytime that I post a video or go live. And please leave your comments down below for the questions that I asked. And if you have anything else to say on her, let me know. And as always, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I shall catch y'all in the next one. See ya.